recording. And make sure that, yeah, it is recording. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Vincent R.L. Bundock's webpage, because that's where we've been getting a lot of the data sets. And here's his page with our data sets. So let's find something that has a lot of, let's use this one right here. So here's the link to the CSV file. So I'm just going to right click here and I'm going to copy the link. And I just picked some random data set. So we'll now load it. So we're going to call it DF. We can call it anything we want, right? The command to read in a CSV file is read.csv, and then we'll put the link in quotes there. And so this was the link to the website. We see that the file is at the end here, .csv, and we can read this in now. And I'll just run it and click run, and here's the file, right? So it only has 3 variables. Basically, it's a file with just gender and earnings. We can use the table command to see how many years there are here. So table df $year. So this is actually a time series data set. So it's 20,999 observations, probably at the individual level, because we have the gender, male and female. And it's for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, intervals of 2 years there. So we don't know whether it's a sample. That's what the data. So it's kind of like a panel. It's a cross section of individuals, but over time. So that's a panel data set. The only thing we could do with this data set really is do a box plot, so we can see what the distribution of earnings is by gender. So the usual way we would do that is we could type df and then the pipe, Command-Shift-M, and then ggplot. And then the aesthetic, we're going to have y equal earnings, and x equals, as a factor, gender. Yeah, let's just say it's as a factor. Might work because gender is a character variable. So we see CHR here, and it's male, female. But let's turn it into a factor variable. That's often better for boxplot to have the display. And then geom underscore boxplot. And let's, I didn't load any library commands. So that's my first, I didn't load tidyverse. And we also, since we're at it, we'll usually also load model summary. And tidyverse. Okay, so now this, and the error message I got was that this pipe here is part of tidyverse, so that regular R doesn't recognize that. So there's my box plot, indeed, just as I had hoped, with the distribution of earnings for men and the distribution of earnings for women. And we see that women, the median here, it's below for men. This is the 75th percentile, it's below for men. This is the 25th percentile, it's below for men. So the distribution of values for women is shifted lower than relative to men. So that we can see that distribution is different. I think there's another, some people like a variant of box plot called the violin plot. And it's basically the same as the box plot, but now the width of the violin, or this looks more like a stingray, but the width is telling you how many observations there are. So we see that for women, there's a lot of observations down here, whereas for men, there's a lot more observations in the high end of the earnings relative to women. There are very few women with high earnings. There's a lot of men with high earnings. The width here is pretty wide. The width here is pretty narrow. So it's another version of the box plot. So that's our box plot. We could also do a table of means and see what the difference in means is. So we could go take the data frame and pipe it into a group by command, and we'll group by gender. And then we have another pipe, and we use the summarize command to calculate the mean of earnings. And let's see what happens when we do that. Down here we see male earnings are 21 on average and female 18 on average. So difference of 3. Maybe this is dollars per hour, so it's $3 per hour. It might be relevant to group it by year also. So because here we have multiple observations by year. So then if we do that, now we have probably better to reverse it. So now for 92, we see that men are earning $3 more. For 94, it's about $2 more. For 96, $3 more. For 98, $2. For 2000, about $3, $3.50. $3 here is the difference, and it's about $3.50 again as the difference here. So that way we'd see the difference. So these are little things we can do. Now, one of the issues that we read the data directly from the website. What if we had downloaded the data? So I'll go back to the data set, and which one was it? I think it was this one. So now I'm going to download it. So where's download? I think I need to just click on it. Yeah, so now I clicked on it and I downloaded it. And now it's in my downloads folder. I'll open that folder here. So here it is in my downloads folder. If I click here, I can see this is my file path to the downloads folder. So maybe now I would move it to some other folder. Let me move it to just move it over here. So now I moved it into this this documents folder, and it's here. So now I want to set the working directory and read it off of my computer instead of straight off of the website. So I'll go over here to R. I go to session. I go to set working directory. So session, set working directory, choose directory. And it's in this documents folder. So this is the folder where it is. So I click open like this. And bizarrely, in my machine, that's actually set with this, because I guess in Windows, the default is the documents folder. So that's the default in the Windows setup after the username. But it would be different for everybody. But notice how what I did was I copied the command down here to set the working directory. And now I can read the file. But all I need now is the file name. I don't need this whole file path. And so I set the working directory and I read it in. I'll call this one df2 just so that it'll show up differently. So I run those two, and now I have df2. Now it's reading it off of my computer, not reading it off the website. So df was being read off the website. df2 is reading it from the downloads. And I need to have this set working directory here so that R will know where this file is if it's on my computer someplace. There isn't much else we can do with this file. We could use model summary to do the data summary. I think it was dot balance. maybe it was underscore. Let me, I'll type it here and then let it prompt me. Data summary, there it is, yeah, balance. So then we have the formula, so it would be tilde gender. And then data equals df, if that. Yeah, so that gives us the means and standard deviations of the variables by gender. So so we see the same thing we saw before, earnings 18 for women, 21 for men. Now we have the standard deviation. Row names obviously is not something we want. So we should have, I think the formula is how to tell it which variables we want. Data output. I think maybe, I wonder if we do it sort of like this, year by gender. Yeah, so we put earnings. There, now we have our, I mean, we only have one variable here that's a numeric variable, which is earnings. So there isn't too much to do with this data set, but that works. I'm going to stop